Hey everybody, let's talk about Pokémon Legends Z. You know, sitting here after spending nearly 40 hours in Lumiose City, I've been wrestling with something. This game makes me feel two completely ways at the same time. On one hand, I'm having genuine fun battling Pokemon in real time for the first time ever, watching my Feraligatr dodge a Psychic Blast before countering with a Crunch. On the other hand, I'm looking at these flat building structures and wondering how we're still dealing with this in 2025 on hardware that can run something like Tears of the Kingdom. But here's the thing, and this is really important. I think both feelings are valid, so let's dive into what makes Pokémon Legends Z-A great and what it actually fumbles, and whether the $70 ticket to Lumiose City is worth your time. First up, let me tell you about a moment in this game where it clicked for me. I was about 3 hours in, facing down an Alpha Hydro on a rooftop. My Chikorita was almost down, Razor Leaf on cooldown, and this massive bird was charging up another dog pulse. In any other Pokemon game, I'd be locked into watching my starter Pokemon get knocked out. But here, I rolled to the side, recalled my Chikorita mid-animation, and sent out my Talonflame, who immediately launched a Flame Wheel from behind. The Honchkrow stumbled, giving me just enough time to circle around and finish it off. That's when I realized this isn't just a Pokemon with a fresh coat of paint. This is Pokemon fundamentally reimagined. The real-time combat system is the star of the show here, and honestly, it's about damn time. After 29 years of selected moves from menus, watching the animations play out, we finally get control of the action. Your Pokemon moves when you move, they dodge when you dodge. Attack actually have range and area that matters. A close range bites require your Pokemon to close the gap, leaving them vulnerable. Meanwhile, Ice Beam can snipe from across the battlefield, but has a long enough windup that telegraphs your move. In cooldowns, oh sweet baby, the cooldown system changes everything. No more to manage, instead each move has its own timer. Your tackle might be ready every 3 seconds, while Solar needs 12. This creates this constant flow of decision making. Do I use Tail Whip while waiting for my damage moves to come back? Do I Pokemon to reset my options? Do I just keep moving and waiting for the perfect opening? What really surprised me is how the system makes moves I've ignored for decades suddenly useful. Detect and Protect aren't just stealth tactics anymore. Detect has a shorter cooldown but less protection time, while Protection keeps you safe long enough but takes forever to recharge. Double Team creates actual duplicates of enemies that might target instead of you. Status moves boost stats only for a limited time now. Shown by glowing or fades, it's like learning Pokemon all over again, and that feeling of discovery, that's something the series has been missing for years now. The use of the Mega Evolution is brilliant here too. When you're fighting rogue Mega Pokemon, which are basically just boss battles, you collect Mega Energy by landing hits. Fill up your meter and you can Mega Evolve your own Pokemon, but the meter constantly drains, so you need to keep the pressure on. It turns these encounters into frantic dance of dodging massive area of attacks while maintaining your transformation. Fighting Mega Soul with my newly Mega Evolved Real, both of us darting around the battlefield launching powered up moves, felt more like an anime battle than anything we've gotten before. But then there's the city itself. Look, Lumiose City is complicated. On paper, setting an entire Pokemon game in one massive urban environment is genius. You've got rooftop parkour, alleyways to explore, cafes and shops on every corner. The city transforms day and night. Daytime is for exploring and catching Pokemon in wild zones. Nighttimes open up battle zones where you can compete in Z Battle Royale tournament to climb rank Z. The structure works. Having everything in one location means less travel time and more action. The wild zone are these designated areas where Pokemon live, marked by green holographic barriers. Each one feels distinct. You got parks, waterfronts, and even cemetery that becomes a ghost type haven. As you progress through the story, more zones unlock and eventually gives you 20 different catching grounds without ever leaving the city limits. Here's where things get rough though. Lumiose City looks, well, like it's playing on the PlayStation 3 game that got upscaled. I'm playing on the Switch 2 at 60 frames per second, and while the frame rate clock is solid, finally catching a Pokemon that doesn't chug, the visual representation is just lifeless. Buildings are flat structures with no detail. NPC stands out in one place just doing nothing. No cars moves despite the roads, and most buildings can't be entered. Instead, just a person stands outside and a menu pops up when you want to talk to them. There's this one moment that perfectly captures the problem. There's a cafe called Cafe Wolf. Sounds cool, right? You walk up expecting to go inside, maybe see some Growlithe hanging around with a trainer. Nope, Just a guy standing out front, you talk to them, a menu appears, you buy some item through text boxes, and he makes a gestures like he's handing you something, but his hands are empty. In 2025, $7 a game, and the lack of voice acting, just come on. We're watching a fully animated cutscenes with characters moving their mouth, expressing emotions, having dramatic conversations in complete silence except for the music. The soundtrack is generally fantastic, but it can't carry these scenes alone. When you meet the 3,000-year-old former King AZ and his tragic backstory gets delivered through just text boxes, it loses that much impact. Zelda gets away with this because Link doesn't talk, but Pokemon has dozens of speaking characters, and their silence feels just boring. The weird thing here is that the character models themselves look great. Some of the best human designs Pokemon has ever had. Tiny and Urbane, your rivals depending on your chosen genders, are expressive and stylish. Emma the detective, Mabel from the research lab, even the minor characters like Carney the streamer, they all look fantastic. It's this bizarre disconnect. The people look like they belong in the modern game, but the world they inhabit feels 2 generations old. Let me paint a picture of you of the exploration loop, because when it works, it does work really well. You wake up in the Hotel Z, yes, that's actually what they call it, run by A and his floaty. During the day, you got some main story missions that usually involve investigating rogue, mega, and Pokemon causing havoc around the city. Quests pop up, blue exclamation marks on your map, help someone find their lost Pokemon, defeat 10 trainers in a row without using items, collect certain types of Pokemon for research. The research system is streamlined from Arceus. Mabel gives you tasks, catch 20 fire types, survey all Pokemon in Wild Zone 7, smash 50 Mega Crystals. Each milestone gives you rewards, mostly TMs and experience candy, but hit level 50 and you got Shiny Charm. It's a grind, sure, but at least there's a worthwhile payoff. And when night falls, battle zones open up. These are the sections of the city that become PvP areas. Well, PvE actually, since there's no real online battles at launch, just seasonal rewards for participating in rank modes. You hunt down trainers on rooftops and alleyways, challenging them to earn tickets for your next promotional battle. Win enough and you climb the ladder with the promise that reaching rank A grants you a wish from Quasario Inc. The story exists. As for the story, it exists. That's about the nicest thing I can say. You're a tourist who gets wrapped up in this whole urban redevelopment thing, joining MZ to protect the city while climbing the tournament ranks. There are mysteries on why Pokemon randomly mega evolve and going berserk. What's Corsair really planning? What's Z's deal? But the pacing is slow and the payoffs are predictable. Characters will have these long conversations that amount to go here, go there, and then come back here. It's padding, plain and simple. One particularly example, there's this quiz show segment where you compete to battle for the streamer Canary. Cool concept, right? Dead wrong. The game automatically gives you the answers. You just walk to the correct panel. There's no player agency. There's no actual gameplay. It's a walking simulator disguised as a minigame. But then, and here comes the frustrating part, you have these moments of brilliance. You're exploring and you spot a P on a lamppost, not a wild zone, just hanging out in the city. You catch it, or you'll find a Trubbish in the alley by some garbage. These environmental Pokemon spawns are rare, but they're exactly what the game needs more of. They make Lumiose feel lived in, like Pokemon and humans actually coexist instead of Pokemon being corralled into certain zones. The difficulty is basically non-existent if you ever played a Pokemon game before, let alone touched one. Tight matchups still win battles, the AI is very predictable, and you can over level easily. The only real challenges come from alpha Pokemon who hit like a Mack truck and some optional trainer gauntlets. I kept waiting for a battle that would really force me into really engaging with the new systems to develop strategies that only work in real-time combat. Unfortunately, it never came. Performance-wise on Switch 2 is very flawless. 60 frames, no drops, quick load times, but the thing is we don't know how it runs on the original Switch yet, and given the Game Freak's track record with Scarlet and Violet, I'm a little concerned. If you're planning to play on the original hardware, maybe wait for some performance reports. Let's talk about value for a second. $70 on the Switch 2 version, $60 for the originals. The campaign runs about 20 hours if you mainline it, 30 to 40 if you do everything. Post-game is mostly completing your Pokédex and climbing the ranks to A if you didn't already. The Mega Dimension DLC is coming in February for another $30, promising new story content and more Mega Evolutions. Is it worth it? That depends entirely on your relationship with Pokemon. If you're a fan who loves waiting for the series to try something new with battles, this is your game. The combat alone carried me through rough patches in the game. But if you're someone who's been waiting for Pokemon to catch up to modern gaming standards in terms of presentation and polish, you might be disappointed. Here's what kinda got on my nerves. This game could have been incredible incredible. Foundation is so strong, real-time battles do work, mega evolutions that feel powerful, a city setting that should have been steaming with wildlife, but it's held back by what feels like lackluster budget, a lack of time, and maybe a lack of ambition, maybe all three. And the crazy part here, according to Game Leaks, this might have cost a little bit of $13 million to develop. If that's true, it would explain a lot, but it doesn't excuse charging premium for prices for a product that feels 2 generations behind the presentation. With that all being said, I keep coming back to that moment with the Alpha Honchkrow though. In that instant, Pokémon Legends Z-A showed me what the series could be: dynamic, fun, and strategic in new ways. It's just a shame that the version trapped inside of a city feels more like a cardboard movie. Look, despite all that being said, I'm still playing, I'm still hunting for shinies, still climbing the ranks, and still experimenting with new move combinations in this battle system. There's something here, and there's something worth experiencing if you're a Pokemon fan who's been craving for evolution in the formula. But I can't keep feeling that we're waiting for a Pokemon game of this generation hardware deserves. Legends Z-A takes a real step forward with the combat, and that alone makes it worth considering. Just go with your expectations in check. This is Pokemon taking baby steps towards modern times, not the giant leap that some of us hoped for. At the end of the day, Pokemon Legends Z-A is 2 different games fighting for the same cartridge. One is an innovative action RPG that reimagines Pokemon battles in exciting ways. The other, on the hand, is a technological, outdated presentation of poor experience that feels stuck in the past. Which one you see depends on what you're looking for and how much you're willing to forgive. As for me, the good outweighs the bad, but barely. The real-time combat is that much of a game changer, but I really hope Game Freak look at the criticism here and realize that innovation in gameplay means nothing if it's wrapped up in a package that feels outdated. Pokemon deserves to be better. We deserve better. And maybe, fingers crossed, Generation 10 will finally be the game we've been waiting for since the series jumped to home consoles. But for now, we've got Legends Z. It's flawed, a little frustrating, but occasionally brilliant, and despite everything, it's hella fun to play. That's Pokemon for you, I guess. Always good enough to keep us coming back, never good enough to blow us away. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button. It really helps out. Let me know in the comments what you think about the real-time Pokemon battles. Are you picking this game up, or are you waiting for the next mainline game? And if you want to catch my full playthrough while I'm hunting for shiny mega evolutions and probably complaining about texture quality, I'm streaming it live on Twitch throughout the week. Link is in the description. I'm building a community there, and it's pretty cool, and I would love for you guys to come hang out and game with me. But until next time, keep gaming, and remember that even flat textures can't stop a good Pokemon battle. Stay safe, stay smart, and stay alpha.